Greetings, Facebookers. It's been a little bit. Just got off a phone with our brother Scott down there in Florida, and it's been a while since we last spoke. Anyway, just so happens that I'm getting ready to walk into a court today for a child abduction case. I told you guys a while back during my debacle of jury trial that I was fighting for a young man who had been abducted by CPS under false pretenses, false and fictitious statements, unregistered DBAs, so on and so forth. Well, today is the day that we will be going into court on that. And what Scott just provided for me for information really made a lot of sense. He said, what they're getting us on is perjury. And I said, all right, how so? I'll bite. What you got for me, Scotty? He said, well, first of all, this information is to be given freely. I said, yeah, I don't have an issue with that at all. And he said, as long as it's given freely, I'm going to give it to you because it's important. And I said, well, you know how I am about that, and I have no problem giving free information. He said, you got a hell of a mouthpiece, Derek, and that's why I'm calling you back. And, let bygones be bygones. It is what it is. You know, I love you. Tough love is always sometimes the hardest. But anyway, long story short, Scott and I are in contact with one another again out of Florida. And he has pointed out that the birth registration date is the date that the prosecutor is using, and the fact that you are using the date that you were born is perjury on the record. And you need to put a clarifying statement out there on the record. Now, the individual that given this information went ahead and took it a step further, got a hold of the Social Security Administration and corrected the record with the true and actual date of birth. Not the day that the man was born, but the day that the all caps entity was birthed. Remember, it's a shipping term, birth. They birth ships. But anyway, what's that?
He's ready to go.
We got to get rocking and rolling. So anyway, what time is it? All right, we got 15 minutes in or not? All right, well, we'll get rocking here. Give me 5 minutes, and we'll get down there. So anyway, going into this court case, as I stated, one, we're going to correct the record with the birth of the all caps entity, which is what they've abducted. They've also taken the actual child, offspring, baby, if you will, because he is just 18 months old. All right, so I'm going to do a notice of appearance, amicus curiae, Mackenzie friend of the court, Derek Straton Gonzalez, in regards to human trafficking, kidnapping, and executive order violations of 13903 and 13818, as well as violations under United States Code 227101 and Indiana Code subsection 3542 3.5 1.4 of Gregory Allen Wilder Jr., date of birth July 26, 2020, and that should be corrected to date born, and date of birth for the all caps entity would have been July 29th, 2020. Whereas Pam Harris, doing business as clerk of the court for Grant County, Indiana, Daniel Baxter, DCS, family case manager, doing business as Grant County Department of Child Protective Services, Sherry Kinsey, supervisor, doing business as Grant County Department of Child Services, Greg Hagee, which is the attorney, doing business as attorney for Grant County Department of Child Services, Georgina Boldinger, doing business as attorney for Grant County Department of Child Services, Grace M. Vieto, doing business as attorney for Grant County Department of Child Services, Dana Kenworthy, doing business as Honorable Judge Kenworthy on behalf of the state of Indiana, and Brian McCain, doing business as Honorable Judge McClain, on behalf of the state of Indiana, Reggie Nevels, doing business as Grant County Sheriff, Philip Saylor, doing business as guardian foster parent on behalf of Grant County Department of Child Services, and Elizabeth Saylor, doing business as guardian foster parent on behalf of Grant County Department of Child Services, is, do, and does knowingly, willingly, and intentionally continue to act in bad faith by failing to restore the rights, titles, and interest of Gregory Wilder and Gregory Allen Wilder Jr., all while unjustly enriching themselves in a simulated legal process and denying Gregory Wilder due process of law and failing to compensate Gregory Wilder for the use of his property. The above mentioned men and women doing business on behalf of their principal corporations are actively participating in kidnapping, extortion, human trafficking, simulated legal processes under the color of law, conspiracy, and trafficking of the child known as Gregory Allen Wilder Jr. Let us and this court take judicial notice of the following. Per Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 11B and the Real ID Act, the actors, agents, and assigns working on behalf of the foreign principal corporation or corporations are in fact non-compliant per the record of this court, whereas every agent and agency is utilizing a false and fictitious, unregistered, doing business as name, assumed business name, in clear violation of Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 11B and Title 6 CFR 37.3 full legal name violative appellation, as well as proper name pursuant to Title 18 USC subsection 1342. Number 2, all foreign agents and agency are required to register per the Foreign Registration Act, FARA, of 1938 as amended in 1939 with the Department of Justice, DOJ, Title 8 USC 1481 A2 and A4 states, once an oath of office is taken, citizenship is relinquished. Thus, you become a foreign entity, agency, or state. That means every public officer is a foreign state, including all political subdivisions. Title 22 USC Foreign Relations and Intercourse, Chapter 11 identifies all public officials as foreign agents. Federal Rules Civil Procedure 4J states that all court jurisdictions and immunities fall under foreign state. Title 22 CFR 92.12 through 13, foreign relationships, state that an oath is required to take office. The 11th Amendment, foreign citizens cannot invoke the judicial powers of the state. Title 28 USC 3215A states that the definition of the United States is a federal corporation. Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act of 1976, Section 1605 through 1608, hold government actors of the United States liable for the tort of trespass of any injury, damage against the sovereign people of the citizens of the several states. Attorneys are considered foreign under the Foreign Agent Registration Act of the United States, FARA, and are subject to the Bar Association and are squires of the Knights of Inns of Court, who answered directly to the Queen of England. Corporations cannot govern we the people of the citizens of the several states with entitlements of privilege and immunities in Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution of the Constitutional Contract. 19 Corpus Juris Secundum, subsection 883, the United States government is a foreign corporation with respect to a state. All public servant officials, congressmen, politicians, judges, attorneys, law enforcement officers, states, and their various agencies, etc., are the express agents of these foreign principles. See Foreign Agent Registration Act of 1938 as amended in 1939, Title 22 USC 286 ETSEQ, also Title 22 USC 263A, Title 22 USC. Rock and rolling here. We're on our way to a court to give them hell here, brother. No volume. That's not shocking. Right. Hold on, you got the key? All right. So anyway, I'll get back to you with the rest of this. We're getting ready to go down there and hammer these guys. And of course, they like to tell me that I'm not allowed to record in the courtroom or have any video audio because these criminals, these crooks, don't like to be recorded. But here's the other thing we're going to do. Today, we are going to inquire about their surety bonds because we have already executed a private administrative process due to the theft and taking of this offspring without any consent, okay? They presume and assume to have consent, power of attorney. We've already removed all that. Let's see here. Also under Title 22 USC 185G, Title 22, 267J, and 611C, Treasury Delegation Order number 91. There reflects no evidence on this court record that any of the agents and agency is in compliance with the Foreign Registration Act providing for this court's record their foreign registration certificate in good standing. Number 3, false and fictitious plaintiffs, a person appearing in the writ, complaint, or record as the plaintiff in a suit, but who in reality does not exist, or who is ignorant of the suit and of the use of his name in it. It is contempt of court to sue in the name of a fictitious party. The state of Indiana is, in fact, a false and fictitious entity plaintiff existing only on paper. The state of Indiana has no cognitive function and is incapable of providing first-hand knowledge of any facts, let alone making a general appearance before this court, which violates Gregory Wilder's unalienable rights to face his accuser per Article 6 of the United States Constitution for America and the Constitution of Indiana, Article 1, Section 13A, and constitutes denial of due process of law. Number 4, no plaintiff has made a general appearance sworn to bonding this action while willing, capable to testify to the veracity of the harm, damage, and loss sustained in the case, and to date, this court record reflects the same, whereas no verifiable pleadings have been produced on this court's record, which constitutes denial of due process of law. Number 5, per Title 26, 2032, AE 11, bond in lieu of personal liability, if qualified heirs make written application, the Secretary for determination of the maximum amount of the additional taxes which may be imposed by subsection C with respect to the qualified heir's interest, the Secretary as soon as possible and in any event within 1 year after the making of such application shall notify the heir of such maximum amount. The qualified heir, on furnishing a bond in such amount and for such period of as may be required, shall be discharged from personal liability for any additional tax imposed by subsection C, and shall be entitled to a receipt or writing showing such discharge. There exists on this court's record no evidence that any agent and agency is bonded and compliant with Title 26, 2032, AE 11 with the Secretary of Treasury of Puerto Rico. Anyway, I got to get going in there. I got to get running, guys. Like I said, I've been working on this case for a while. It's near and dear to my heart because it deals with offspring that could be put in jeopardy and harm's way. So, like that, I've got to get to running, but I wanted to bring you guys up to speed about what I'm doing. I've been silent for a little while because I've been diligently working on this. We'll talk to you guys soon.